Hi guys, welcome back to another Matchbox Garage video. I'm Rob, and today I shall be attempting to take this Zylmex fun trucking Courier from shabby to shiny. Now this one is a funky looking car. I've got, well, to me instantly it looks like an American pickup truck, right? But I don't think that it is. I think it's kind of based on a Japanese pickup, but I'm not sure. Hopefully you guys down in the comments section will be able to let me know. But yeah, this it says it's a fun trucking Courier. Very funny name, made in Hong Kong. Obviously it's got some decals on the side there, but I thought, yeah, let's have a little play with this one today. And 2,000 likes and it could be yours. So it rolls pretty well, and I like the little details here. You got the kind of sunroof there, nice little bonnet bulge, nice little cargo area in the back. But it does read underneath here, the Zylmex Fun Trucking Courier, made in Hong Kong, and it's at P353. And I've taken the head, or both the heads off of these rivets. I've yet to drill and tap, mainly because having never taken apart one of these cars before, I don't really know what I'm dealing with, don't really know how far I can kind of drill down, and certainly on the rear of the car, you can't drill through, otherwise you're going to go straight through the base there. So there's the standard wheels. We'll be putting them to one side. We'll be replacing those wheels today. And that's how that fits. So you got the rear bumper, kind of like little side bash bars, and of course the front grille there. And then this was, I thought, oh, comes apart. I kind of thought I had maybe broken it in half, but it does come apart and obviously goes back together. Unsure why they would have done that, but there we go. Interior there, very basic. And then the windscreen here pops out. Thankfully, no scratches, no cracks or anything like that. So that'll be getting a buff up later on. And yeah, it just goes together, like as you can see there, little tab on the back of the cab. So let's get these 3 metal pieces into my foot-long hot dog jar. Cover it over with boiling water. And then we'll go with a tablespoon of caustic soda. Giving it a little swirl round. Have a little look, see if the paint is starting to come off already. And you can't see much, but certainly the silver section is starting to come off. And doesn't take too long to for everything to come off. But whilst that's doing its business, we'll clean up the plastics here. The interior, it was clean to start with, to be honest, but it's always worthwhile just for any dust. And I'll cover that with some Nuln oil later on. And you got the grille section there. And then the window piece, we just drop into some Pledge Revive It floor polish solution. And it was kind of at this point I was wondering what kind of colour to go with. And I thought I wanted to go with like a satin finish. So this matte silver, I thought will replace the chrome. And then with the body of the car, I thought I'd go with a satin finish as well. With every one of my kind of customs or restoration builds, I like to do something a little bit different. Not just to keep it fresh for you guys, but for me as well. I find that sometimes builds are going to be better than others. I must admit, tell you a little secret, I don't love this one, but it's all part of the journey, you know. So anyway, we're going with the Vallejo paint, and because of the red interior, and I had picked out some red wheels, so I thought I'll go with a reddish colour, and I used probably 90% of that red with a little splash of black, and it really did darken it up, but I was okay with that. So the body here now out of the solution, and it'll be getting a buff off before going to the Tamiya Fine Surface Primer in grey this time. I usually use white. I prefer using white, but because this was a darker colour, I used the grey today. And of course, being in two sections, painted them separately. Bit awkward on the back here. You have to try to get the paint into a small gap. And I always find it a little bit fiddly trying to get into the inside the bed of these pickups. And now that that primer has dried, very smooth, and we'll put the colour on. I noticed instantly that I was having a bit of trouble with my airbrush. I've been playing around with it, basically with the needle. I watched a video recently where a guy had basically explained the anatomy of an airbrush, and I was getting some blockages, and anyway, there was one little thing that stood out to me that I hadn't been doing, and that is to allow the needle not to go kind of like, I guess, rammed up into the nozzle, because I would, you know, push in the needle as far as it go, tighten it up, but I'm not allowing enough paint through. So what I changed was I kind of loosened off the needle, pulled it back probably 1 millimeter, and that's all it needs. And it just means that I'm less likely to get kind of paint blockages or tip dry or needle tip dry. So again, just underneath there, trying to reach all of those hidden spaces before going over the top. This Vallejo paint is pretty forgiving. This is the kind of Air series where it's direct to your airbrush, no thinning required. But like I say, it does dry in like a matte satin finish. But anyway, we've got the base here all polished up, and I prefer to keep those unpainted. We've got the grille section there, with a little bit of detail in the front, and I've gone over the interior with the Nuln oil. Looked a bit too bright, so I kind of, I guess, took off the shine really. And then around the back here, it doesn't really come out very good on video, I must admit, but it just seemed to be a little bit too plain, a little bit too basic. And because it was like, in my opinion, like a Japanese pickup truck, I added some little, like, I don't know, they're like Hello Kitty eyes or something. A little bit of fun, but it just kind of added a little bit of detail around the back there. And you can see the chromed out the door handles and put in the indicator there. Window section looking good. And then these are the wheels I picked out. It's now that I'm playing around with it, they are a little bit too big, and I probably will be replacing them if this ever does reach 2,000 likes and it goes to a winner somewhere in the world. But yeah, I like the wheels, but I think they're just a hair too big, and it means that this base, you could probably see, it's just not really sitting as good as I'd hoped. And the colour, it doesn't really reflect true on screen, I must admit. It's a little bit brighter, a little bit more red in person. But I think where it's a satin or a matte finish, my camera's just not really picking it up as well as I'd hoped, you know, with this kind of bright white background. But anyway, I just want to take this opportunity to thank my amazing patrons. And thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, you'll stick around for the next one.